Hey everyone, it's Chaos Hunter and I'm back with another video. In this video, I know it's not Xenoverse, but I kind of been playing Yu-Gi-Oh for quite a bit. And I do have a few other Yu-Gi-Oh videos, but in this one I want to talk specifically about the Duelist challenges. Now typically in this, game, it's really cool when you get to, duel and, you learn a deck and, you basically know the ins and outs of that deck specifically. So most of the time when I would go through the duelist challenges, I would have a really hard time picking out a deck specifically that would help me beat them. The first couple of duels, it was really easy to do. Then as the duels progressed, as I got further and further into them, I found myself struggling. Now, what you're seeing right now is Yugi's deck, and I basically ended up figuring out that the easiest way to beat the duelist challenges and actually be able to win most of the time with Yugi's deck. Sorry, I can't speak right now. With Yugi's deck is basically having the Exodia deck. Now, the Exodia deck is mostly about defense and basically drawing cards until you draw Exodia, which at whatever point is, you win right after you pull the last card. Now, I have a lot of issues with this deck, and one of the biggest issues is the type of cards that it has. Most of the cards have a lot of weak attack points, and like their defense points aren't very good. You would say the only one that is any good is the stone monster that I have on the field. He's the only one that's and has any good purpose in the deck, and the rest of the monsters, are really, just there. Like there were a few times during many duels, actually, not just this one, where I could have attacked. I could have had, one without having to summon so many monsters in defense mode, and then B, having so many monsters that really don't do anything. Their attack points aren't very high, so I wasn't able to attack. I tried to make the deck work, and for the most part, I did. I got to like 3 different duelist challenges categories where you basically beat the entire cast of that show, and then I got stuck around the Yu-Gi-Oh 5Ds. But for the longest time, I actually ran Yugi's deck how it's supposed to, just the regular Exodia deck that he used against Kaiba, and for the most part, it didn't really help. It wasn't helping too much. I wasn't doing very good. There were a few matches where I would get stuck, and a lot of it comes down to not only the monsters but the kind of hand that you get in the very beginning. If you don't get a good hand in the very first turn, or even in like the second turn, like when you pull out a card that you need, you're gonna have a very hard time trying to beat these guys, and not only that, but getting through the challenges without feeling frustrated. There were a few challengers that I faced that their decks were so different. They were the type where you could sacrifice a card and then bring it back, and then you dispose of it, power it up, and then bring it back again. So it's back and forth, and you weren't really ever able to beat them properly just because of how their deck was set up. So in this video, I just wanted to address that, and I kind of remembered that you could edit a deck, and I was able to. In this first image that you're going to see, it's basically all of Yugi's deck. How he had it originally, with all of the cards that were supposed to be in there originally. So for the most part, I did get stuck with one character, with one challenger, like I said, and her deck was very difficult to beat for the most part, just because the cards that I would get in the first turn wasn't what I needed. And can't really win a duel when you don't have the cards that you need. When you get the cards that you're supposed to use, that you can actually link up together, it works perfectly fine. And this one, I honestly thought I was gonna die, and I wasn't gonna be able to win. But like, it's all of Yugi's deck. the way that it's supposed to be used and everything. I know that there's different ways where you could use the monsters in a better situation, and honestly, the way that this duel played out, I was a little surprised that I actually won, you know, because there have been other chances where I do other challengers, and you know they'll have like 100 or 50 life points, and I'll have, you know, 6,000, and they'll beat me within the next 3 turns, you know, just because I don't pull the cards that I need. And a lot of the cards that Yugi has in his original deck, a lot of them are monsters, like the strongest ones are monsters that you need to sacrifice 2 monsters to summon them, you know, especially when the other opponent has multiple monsters that can upgrade or either destroy the monster that you just summoned, so you just wasted 2 monsters that could have potentially helped you save your life for, like, you know, the next few turns, just to summon a monster that you thought was going to help you, and then eventually ended up not doing so. So what I'm here to do is basically show you the deck that I've been using, and honestly it really does help a lot being able to switch so many monsters. I ended up switching a lot of the monsters that I knew you did not have to sacrifice any monster to summon, and if you did, you know, they had special effects. So the next image that you're seeing now is the image of Yugi's deck when I've edited everything. You know, you can see all the monsters that I've used. There are a few spell cards and trap cards that I've added that actually saved my life quite a few times, and it was honestly really great. Like, I was able to pull the monsters that I needed. I was able to not only defend, but I was able to have monsters that had really high attack points, and, you know, not only stop the opponent from having sacrifice monsters, but I was able to just eliminate any possible threat. But then again, like I said, it also depends on the hand that you draw. You know, on this one, I got extremely lucky. You know, I drew Swords of Revealing Light that saved me for like 3 turns. Then I drew Heart of the Underdog, one of my favorite cards to use if you're trying to summon Exodia. But yeah, other than that, like, every other card was kind of weak. It was basically useless when it came to, you know, having them in a deck to duel with. Maybe if, like, the monsters, you know, didn't have any special effects, I could have possibly used them, but I didn't really see a need. So I ended up changing up the deck, and, you know, those are all the cards that I have. And currently I'm on Yu-Gi-Oh! Zexal challenges, and I'm actually doing pretty well. I actually managed to beat the person that I was stuck on Yu-Gi-Oh! 5Ds, but it did take quite a while. And I'm going to show you a duel in just a moment. The person that I'm talking about, you know, like, she was really tough, and she has those kinds of decks where, you know, they have multiple effects, and in one turn they can do so many things and screw you up. So if you don't have the right cards, you're not going to survive, you know. And again, it's the pull that you get. You can have the perfect deck, but if you don't get the one card that you need to help you win, you're gonna lose, and you're gonna lose every single time. This next tool that I'm about to show is a perfect example of that, and I mean, I can't tell you how frustrated I was at that specific moment. But I mean, I hope that with these images that I show you of, like, any decks that I have, they're not the only decks that I use, but they're the decks that help me out the most. If you guys, you know, think of any suggestions, you know, I'm more than happy to see, but this is the deck that helps me out the most. If you guys are struggling with the Duelist challenges, trust me, the Exodia deck is the one way to go. If you can't get all the cards, I would go to the dual pack, or the card pack that you can choose, like, which cards you want, and go to Yugi, and just spend a lot of points on that, and you'll get all the cards that you need. It'll tell you when you've completed the deck and when you're able to use it, basically. But other than that, I mean, I hope this video helps you guys. If there's any questions, you know, leave a comment below. If you like this video, leave a like. If you like more of this content, or like how-to videos, or, you know, basically tutorials on how I do things, if you're struggling or anything like that, you know, subscribe and I'll upload more. It's nice talking to you guys again, and until next time.